Unfortunately, you are out of time. However, you can now ask me any questions you so desire. My suggestion, if you weren't done, submit it real quick, see which ones are the ones you got in, to see which ones you missed. That means guessing which ones. All right, so anybody have a question they want to see?
So you have to guess on the ones that you get.
Yeah, if it won't let you submit it, yeah.
45.
45? Okay, I heard a question on 45. Okay, so it says line R is parallel to line S. Find the measure of angle 8. So we're looking for this one right here. If we know the angle to measure of angle 6 is 56. Now, the question is, are these two on the same line? See where I highlighted. Are they right next to each other on that line? That means, can I do this? And there encompasses both angles.
Yes.
The measure of a straight line is 180 degrees. That means the measure of angle 6 plus the measure of angle 8 equal 56. Or not 56, 180. So, since we know that the measure of angle 6 is 56, that means if we want to know the measure of angle 8, you subtract 180 minus 56, and you get 124. Alrighty. What other question you got? See why I told y'all you need to be pretty much done? And it can go anywhere. Which one's next, y'all? If you're one of the ones done, my suggestion is you're the one speaking up. 59? 59? All right, so this one we're looking for a function, which means x's cannot repeat. So for this one, because I know a few of y'all do not understand the vertical line test, I'm going to explain it a different way. So we're actually going to give these x's and these y's some numbers. All right, any questions so far? Now what we're going to do is we're going to plot each of the points. So, this one, we have 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, and we'll say even 4, 2. And then I just look at the very first number. Does any of those repeat? So that means so far that could be a function. Let's look at your next one. 1, 4. And we'll say 2, 4. And we'll say that's probably, if I was to move some of these over, which I'm going to just real quick, we'll make that 3, 4. There's also 3, 2, or 3, 3.5. We'll say 2.5. And then 4, 2, or 2.5. Yet again, I highlight my numbers on the very first one. Do you see any there that repeat? You don't? Because I do. 3, 3. All right, let's look at this one. 3, 1. 3, 2. 3, 3. 3, 4. Any numbers repeat? Yeah, all of them. All right, let's look at this one. We have 1, 3. Let me change color back to real quick. So 1, 3. We have 2, 2. 2, 4. 3, 1. 3, 4. Any of those numbers repeat? Which ones? 2 and 2 and 3 and 3. So if you are not sure, plot it. The ones that do not repeat, the X's that do not repeat, is your answer. All right, what you got next?
91.
91. Sorry about all the sliding. All right, so this one, we're just looking at the graph versus what you got. Do you see any kind of a straight line there?
No.
Yeah, so there is no line. In fact, there's really no anything. This is why it's a no association. Now we're looking at our stuff and seeing, does this have anything to do with something else? Doesn't matter how many brothers and sisters you have for a person's GPA.
Yes.
How many siblings do you have, Angel?
2.
Landon, how many siblings?
1.
Anybody else in here have 2 siblings? So, according to Rangel, that means both Brogan, Lindsay, and him all have the same grade point average. Do you think that's true?
No.
It says right here it's right.
Interesting. So, this would be a no. That means they have nothing to do with each other. All right, what about the number of guests at a hotel and the total water consumption?
Yes.
So, how many people, who's got the most siblings that live in their house with them? Do you think? Cadence, how many?
5.
Can anybody beat 5?
Wait, for what?
Siblings or people in the house. That means they live with you.
7.
They live with you?
7 siblings or 7 people?
I have around 7 siblings and then I have the parents. Which, the 7 parents.
That live in your house?
All right, so I only have 3 people. How much water do you think she uses versus our house?
A lot more.
A lot more. That means there is definitely some sort of association there, right? And it's probably going to be a positive association because the more guests you have, the more water. What about the total amount of miles you drive versus the amount of gallons you use?
Yes.
So, more miles, more gas? What about the number of people at a concert and concession sales? What do you think is going to happen?
Yes.
They're going to go up, right? So all of these other ones are positive. The only one that has a no association is your A. What else you got?
Miss Gary, it says I got it wrong, but I'm going to put it right here, right?
That's because you misclicked. You got to be careful of that. All right, what other numbers y'all got? All right, so I just heard 22. 29. Ooh, okay. A lot of people had problems with this one. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to label the rest of my square. How much is all of my X's worth?
4.
I have a 4 here. How much total X's do I have all together?
2.
How can that be if I already have 4 right there?
8.
There we go. I have 8 total X's. Now, what is 12 minus 6?
2.
12 minus 6?
6.
There we go. And if I subtract another 6,
0.
and then I add 12.
12.
So what I just did there was I combined all of my consonants, or all my constants. So I could have done 12 plus 12 and then minus 6 and gotten the exact same answer. Now I go back and look at my question because I already read it and I saw perimeter. Perimeter just means I add all my sides. So I add, and add. So if I go like that. That makes sense? Now it tells me my perimeter is, remember that's an equal word, 36. Now I'm just doing is solving it. Box my variable, get rid of the stuff that's next to my box. By the way, you should have had a lovely thing that says 8x equals plus 12 equals 36. Once I do that, I get 24 is equal to 8x. I have 8 x's. I just want to know what 1 is, which is why I divide by 8, which is 3. All right, next question. What you got? All right, I'm hearing 11. Okay. So, very first thing I'm going to do with scientific notation, I'm going to rewrite this lovely little number down. Now, my decimal is right here. I want to find my first counting number. What's my first counting number?
1.
Yeah, if I'm reading this, it should be a 1. That means all of these digits are what I'm moving my decimal through. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means I moved it 10 places. My decimal now is here. I do not have 2 decimals in a problem. I only have 1. And then I do times 10, and then to the power of 10. You're going to do the caret as shift 6. So you do times 10, and then you would have done to the caret of 6. All right, what other ones you got? $15? All right, so we're looking for pi. I'm not even really care about the 7s because what that means is I have 7 pi's.
That's a lot of pies.
That's a lot of pies.
It is, but pi is just a number, so having 7 of those numbers, that's what that means. I have 7 of those numbers. So like if I have 7x, I have 7 of those x's. So what is pi?
3.1.
I don't know what it is because it's what?
It doesn't end.
It doesn't end. Does it ever repeat?
No.
No. No, it never repeats, which is why it's irrational. So I'm going to find the 2 that's irrational first. There is no way I can count either forwards or backwards to pi. That's why it's a real number. Every single number that you know is a real number. That's why it's called the real number system.
So we're basically being any classification.
A what? Say that one more time.
Like anyone, like, can they go to like integer and everything?
All of the real numbers, all of the numbers that you know of fall under that category. So an integer is a real number. Irrational is a real number. Irrational is a real number. Natural is a real number.
So that could be a negative.
Technically, they're a real number. They're something you physically can see.
Okay.
All right, what other number? 30 what?
38.
38. Okay. So with this one, the very first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get the solution because that's the easiest one. Where is that point?
8.
812. Because remember, you always do left and right before you go up and down. All right, so from here, all I'm looking for is y is equal to, and I can even use that point when I count up and over. So I'm going to do a first. So remember, I'm going up 2 boxes. How much is each of those boxes worth? 2. So I have 2 boxes of 2, which would be 4. And then I go over 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes. And how much is each of those boxes worth? 2 again. So 4 boxes of 2 is 8. So 4 over 8 is a 1 over 2. Now, is that a positive or a negative? Yeah, it's positive. You use your arms as positive. And then where did that one start? Where was the beginning of line A? 8. Very nice, DK. All right, now I'm going to do the same thing over here. I have, yet again, 2 boxes and 4 boxes. So guess what? That slope is identical. Is that a positive slope or a negative slope? And where does that one start? What's the beginning of that one? What's the B? Look at your graph. Where does it start? 16. All right, any questions there? All right, what other number you got? Rachel, stop. What other number do we got, people? Okay. All right, so these ones, all you have to do is just do the y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. You could have also done your stat trick. It works just as well. So I'm going to go ahead and mark. That should not be a y. y1, x2, y2. And now I'm going to just fill it into my formula. 8 minus negative 12 over 17 minus 17. I automatically know that one divides by 0, which means I don't even have to finish that. It's undefined because I cannot divide by 0. Now the bottom one, x1, y1, x2, y2. That one I can actually do a little more of. So 1 minus negative 2 over negative 3 minus 6. So that gives me 3 over negative 9, which is negative 1 over 3. All right, any questions on that one? All right, what other one you guys got next? Which one could you not figure out when you were going through the review? Lindsay, are you asking me questions or are you trying to share stuff? Which one? 54? Because if you're not asking me questions, this is a waste of my time and yours. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing I just did earlier. I can make a box around these. Thing is, I do not know what that one equals. So I'm going to do 180 minus 109. I get 71. So that means this one right here is 71 degrees. And then I know a triangle equals up to 180. So 71 plus 49. 50 and 70 is 120. And then I just basically subtract that, 180 minus 120, which is how I got 60. All right, what other one?
21.
Okay. All right, 21. So, for those of you who did not realize, that's a negative. Which means this number has to be less than 1. Automatically knocks off those two. Then if I basically mark this out, 3.652, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. Decimal. So I'm looking for a 3 with 3 zeros in front of it, which is why it's A. Next. 63. Okay. Oh, supplementary angle, that's always equal up to 180. Complementary is always 90. All right, what other ones?
68.
Okay, I heard 65 and 68, correct? All right, so 65. Basically, this is saying that these two added up equals this one. These two added up equal this one. And lastly, these two added up equal this one. So if you look at this, you can automatically tell that these two right here have the exact same measurement. Measure of angle 1 plus the measurement of angle 2. And you're looking for the one that's not true. So that'll automatically save you some time. So I know the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2, that's in blue, equals 6. That means Katie's your answer because she's wrong. All right, 68. Okay. So these two angles right here, and I'm going to go ahead and highlight this that way, will equal your CYL. And anytime I'm looking at this, I'm always looking for the one that's in the middle, which means I need to know what that X is. So 5X plus 3 plus 4X minus 26 equals 7X plus 7. That's what I'm going to start with. It is a lot, which means I'm going to go ahead and simplify that down. 5 and 4 is what? 9. What is a positive 3 and negative 26?
Negative 23.
Very nice, negative 23. And that will equal 7X plus 7. Now I can just basically subtract it and figure out what this X is. And then, of course, I'm going to add 23, add 23. So I'm left with 2X is equal to 30. So 1X is equal to 15. So here's what I know. X equals 15. But that's not the answer to my question. That might be an answer available to you if you see a question like this on your CBA, but this isn't going to answer your question. You then will have to put 5 times 15 plus 3. So 45 plus 3 is 48. And those of you who struggled with that one, you are not alone. And hold on, I cannot basically multiply to save myself because 5 times 15 is 75 plus 3 is 78. Sorry, my bad. I struggled with this one as well because I'd forgotten about the exterior angle theorem.
67.
67, sure. Same kind of concept. So I'm going to basically take these two together and it'll equal up to the other one. So I have 18x, and this time I'm going to just go ahead and add negative 2 plus 76 to get 74. It's equal to 36x plus 2. drawing my line, minus 18x because it's smaller. I don't like dealing with the negative unless I have to. And then I'm going to subtract 2. So now I'm left with 72 is equal to 18x. Divide that by 18. So I get x is equal to 4. So x is equal to 4. But it's asking me about HTL. That means I'm looking for this one. So 36 times 4 plus 2 is 146. All right. Any other questions? 39? Okay. So the first thing it says is Ralph's T-shirt company sells custom T-shirts for $5 each. Each, if I'm highlighting, would be the word I would be highlighting. Plus $20. So I'm looking for that one to be $20. So that one right here, this is Ralph. Now Frank is $10 each with no additional fees, which means this one right here is Frank. So there's Frank. All right, now we're going to basically find the graph to figure out what it means. So I go 4 up 40. And what that means is when they sell 4 T-shirts for $40. Because the system of equations, the solution is just where they cross. What's the coordinates where they cross? All right, what else you got? We've got time for a few more. I'd be looking through anything you weren't sure of. If you're Googling stuff, this is not a good time. 77. That means I would be going through my nice little review and be like, okay, which ones did I not get? Also a good one. All right, so here's what we know. We know the perimeter of the square. That means this thing right here is equal to 104. That means the first thing I got to do is divide this by 4 because it's perimeter, I can divide it. And that's 26. That means this lovely little side length's 26. And then it says the area of square 2 is 576. Well, I need a side length if I want to know the side length. So I'm going to do the square root of 576 to get 24. Y'all good so far? So then I got to do a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. Remember, this is c. So the other ones don't matter. So plus 24 squared is equal to 26 squared. So if I do this, I have a squared plus 576 is equal to 26 times 26 is, yeah, I'm not going to do that in my head today. Most of the time I can do that one in my head, just not today. Sorry about that. Huh? I'm just not remembering at the moment. So that's 676. I just wasn't trusting my brain today. So I subtract 576 from both sides. So now I have a squared is equal to 100. That is not my answer because it wants the side length. Which means, bless you, I'm going to do the square root of a squared and the square root of 100. And that's how I get the one side length is equal to 10. Or if you wanted to do a shorter way, remember you could have just done c squared minus b squared to get a. Which one, Steven? You have one? Okay, anybody else got one?
8.
Okay. Ooh, another good one. So it says to the nearest tenth, what is the length of line segment CD on the parallelogram? So I don't know what CD is because it's a diagonal, which means I'm going to do the square root of 3 squared plus 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 squared. And that gives me, when I round it, 5.8. Bless you. Now it says, what's the perimeter of the parallelogram? So now I know this one's 5.8. This one's 5.8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So basically I have 12 plus 5.8 plus 5.8 plus 12. And that gives me 35.6. And yes, I just did hear you. And then from B to C, yet again, I would create a nice little triangle. And I do the square root of 9 squared plus 5 squared, which roughly equals up to 10.3.